Hello and welcome to my review. A little bit late, but oh well, we're better late than never, eh? Of WWE Fastlane 2023. The show kicked off with a video package with Pat McAfee doing an intro because I don't know if he's from Indianapolis or if it was just that he had like a big portion of his career there, or maybe both. I'm not sure, but he's closely tied with Indy. So he did his the opening package for them. Then the first match, going to jump straight into it here, was Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes challenging the Judgment Day for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. I put that this was a very fun tag match. It built nicely to the crescendo. It started off like slower pace. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it did. It really built and built and built, and by the end, it was quite frantic. And I think that was a good way to do it. You know, that's a good recipe in general. As long as you get the pacing right and the slow bit doesn't take too long or feel too much of a slog, that's a good way to do it. The Judgment Day had like obviously outside shenanigans. They had Dom and Rhea show up and be trying to interfere and stuff. But the story continues with the interference backfiring when JD Mc don't Google me, hit Damian Priest in the knee with his own briefcase by accident, and then there was like a 1D slash Cody Cutter combo. So it's like the 1D that which is the 3D that the Usos started doing, except Cody did the springboard into the cutter. I don't know if it was the most fluid, but it looked decent enough, honestly. I liked it. Then Cody hit a crossroads on this was both on Finn Balor, and then Cody pinned Finn. And we have new tag team champions, and I am 0 for 1 on predictions already at this point. And I put that I don't in my notes. I put I don't love this decision. It's yet another example of how will they coexist tag team, beating an established like group, an established team, and I feel like that just happens way too often in WWE history. I get they're telling the story with Judgment Day and with JD McDonough trying to earn his way in and he's screwed up and da 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 da. I feel like they could have told that without taking the tag titles off Judgment Day. I don't know. Like give it time. Let's see what they do with it. You know, obviously Raw hasn't happened tonight yet, and what have you. And you know, they just the longer term, bigger picture it might play out, and I'll take this back. But right now, on impulse, as I was watching the show, wrong decision for me. So yeah, that's just how I feel about that. Up next, there was some pretty cringe ad for Pizza Hut with Wade Barrett, Booker T, and Xavier Woods. Yeah, I thought it was a bit cringe, but nothing unexpected. It was just like at first I thought it was just weird they were having Wade Barrett and Booker T talk like backstage about like the show because they just talked about the match that had just happened and then started talking about the main event and then all of a sudden it was like and shoehorn some pizza in and it was like oh okay it's an ad. Um, Xavier Woods is always charming. I love Xavier Woods. But like the segment as a whole, not great. Not great. Not a fan. I think the problem with those isn't that they've got advertising on the shows, because I get they're a business, they want to make money. Da, da, da. I think WWE goes about advertising in a pretty awful way a lot of the time. Like this just felt super, super unnatural and like weird, especially the bit where it's just Wade Barrett and Booker T. It felt so forced and like I don't know if you're gonna do that sort of advertising where it's almost just part of the show. Like they tried to work it in with them talking about the show at first, and then suddenly pizza. If you're gonna do that, it needs to feel a lot more natural and a lot more flowing. More on that later. So the next match was the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley versus Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, and a mystery partner. Because when I made my predictions, SmackDown hadn't happened yet, and I thought it was going to be one of Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, as was advertised. But they were taken out on SmackDown, which, like I say, took place after I recorded my predictions. Carlito came back again after showing up. What event was it? I know it was in Puerto Rico. Was it Extreme Rules that was in Puerto Rico? Whatever event it was. Or was it Money in the Bank? Might have been Money in... No, it wasn't Money in the Bank. No, that was in England. Duh. Might have been Extreme Rules. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. But yes, for the first time since then, Carlito showed up, which was a fun moment. He showed up really late. I've never understood I understand it for the drama, but within kayfabe, like, what, did Carlito not know what time the show was starting? Like, why was he late? Like, I know for the drama, but why was he late? And why are the LWO just okay with having to fight 2-on-3 for most of the match, and then Carlito shows up at the end? Why is the referee okay with someone being added to the match? Surely within the rules, everyone who's involved, because this was the issue with like the original Roman Reigns winning the Universal title and the Triple Threat, right? To me, doesn't everyone who's going to be involved in the match that needs to be involved at the start of the match, because obviously Royal Rumble's like an exception, but doesn't everyone need to be present before the referee will ring the bell? Because otherwise, say you're facing The Undertaker, I'd just be like, well, you can ring the bell to start the match whenever you want, ref, so ring the bell now. It's going to take him more than 10 seconds to make his entrance, so I'll win by countout. Problem solved. Like, why is the referee allowing the match to start 2-on-3, but then just allowing someone to come out and be like, oh yeah, I'm the third person, and just freely attack people when they're fresh? That doesn't feel like how it should be. But, you know, the drama's fun, I guess. Anyway, I put, had I known about the mystery partner, I might have predicted the other way. Yeah, I predicted that the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley would win, but no, Carlito won with a backstabber to Montez Ford and the pin. I might have predicted the other way if I'd have known about the mystery partner stipulation. I don't know if I'd have predicted Carlito. I was quite surprised when it was Carlito. I was like, who is it? Like, couldn't figure it out. Maybe it was obvious and I just wasn't firing on all cylinders, but when I was watching the show, I didn't have a clue. The match was fine. The story they're going with at the moment seems to be like the Street Profits being a bit over cocky and showing off too much and not business enough for Bobby Lashley. And I think that story has potential. Like, I hope this team ends up synergizing well and getting fully on the same page and kind of running roughshod. But having a couple of little bumps in the road on the way to getting there, I have nothing against that. That's fine by me. Yeah. Then we cut to Graves and Cole talking about the match that just happened, and Xavier Woods oh no, the pizza was already there. I think it would have been better if Woods had the pizza and put it down. But yeah, Woods gave them pizza to enjoy the show with, which everyone knows the secret to great commentary is to have your mouth stuffed full of pizza while you're trying to talk. Like, that's the secret to it. So I'm glad Woods finally let them in on the secret. I'm already sick of Pizza Hut and haven't even had it in years. I can't remember the last time I had Pizza Hut, but like, I'm just sick of Pizza Hut now after those two forced in thing. Like, this one was a bit better because like the cut to Cole and Graves is something they do sometimes, and Woods kind of just sort of turned up. Like I say, it would have been better if he'd have turned up with the pizza rather than just being a massive pizza box on the desk and then them both looking down and going, "Huh, where did that come from?" Like, you know. So yeah. But like, yeah, I was sick. I was like, are they going to advertise Pizza Hut in between every match? Because, God, why? Anyway, next they showed Jade Cargill. Cargill? Who the hell is Jade Cargill? Jade Cargill arriving on the kickoff show, which I didn't watch. I just watched the main show. But yeah, they showed that and Triple H greeting her. Like, it's interesting. Like, by the looks of it, she's going straight to main roster. Which, I mean, I get, you know, it's star power. They're making a big deal out of her, and she was a big deal in AEW. But I assumed she would kind of do a bit of the run roughshod over NXT. Okay, there's nothing left for me here, onto the main roster kind of deal. I don't know, but apparently she's going straight to the main show, which is fine. Up next was the WWE Women's Championship match. Charlotte Flair and Asuka challenging Io Sky. I put that sometimes this match was a little bit janky and a bit underwhelming for the quality of the three involved. Now, I don't know if that's going to be an unpopular opinion, but I try and call it as I see it, and Charlotte Flair, Asuka, and Io Sky are all absolutely tremendous wrestlers. And I just feel like sometimes multi-person matches take away from the quality the people involved are capable of. And I don't mean like tag matches, I mean like multiple sort of individuals in a match, triple threats, fatal four ways, etc., etc. And I think it's because they're trying to shoehorn in too many, like, oh, this would be cool. What if, like, you do this move and immediately I jump into this move and then the person who had the first move done to them jumps into that move. Like, I think they try and shoehorn too much of that in. And, yeah, I think it maybe takes away from the strengths of a lot of the wrestlers in this sort of environment. I think any any combination of two of these three would probably have put on a better match. That's just maybe my opinion. Well, it's definitely my opinion, but it might just be my opinion. I don't know. But so the finish came. Obviously, I'm not doing play-by-play in all these matches. Like, just watch it if you want to know everything that happened in the matches. But the finish came when Charlotte put Asuka in the figure eight, and she tapped again to the figure eight. Like, I swear, Asuka sometimes looks like an absolute beast, and then sometimes they put her against Charlotte Flair, and it's just a totally different Asuka. Sometimes, she's like, I get the figure eight is quite well protected, but she taps so quickly to the figure eight every time it's put on her, it seems. But Bayley had the referee distracted, so it didn't see that Asuka tapped. Then Io hit the over the moonsault on Charlotte for the 3. So at least Charlotte took the pin, but it wasn't quite clean. So I can kind of get behind that. Oh, by the way, I didn't clarify. I don't think I was 0 from 2 on predictions after the 6-man tag because I predicted the other way. That put me on 1 of 3 though, because I did predict Io to retain, even though I didn't feel confident in it. So I'm glad I went with that in the end, and I'm glad WWE went with it. I'm glad Io's getting a bit of a chance in this reign instead of just being fed to Charlotte essentially. But yeah, this was fine. I think they've obviously advanced in the story that Io, didn't want Bayley involved, and Bayley got involved. But this time, Bayley was right. Like, without Bayley involved, Io lost the title there. So it's going to be interesting to see this, because I feel like they are going to start crumbling Damage Control now, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out of it in what roles. I feel like Io surely is going to be the face and Bayley's the heel. I don't know where Dakota Kai is going to settle yet. In terms of picking a side or going on her own, and if she goes on her own as a face or a heel, we could see a triple threat between them potentially. That'd be fun. I know I've just poo-pooed triple threats, but the story would be fun. Like, I think I'd rather just see Io and Bayley, and then maybe Dakota Kai faces like whoever comes out of that or something like that. That could be fine, but maybe fit a triple threat in there. Just the trick with triple threats, I think, is not worry so much about doing stuff with all 3 involved, all like in 2 quick succession all the time at the start of the match. Like, later in the match, it settles into like one of them's recovering and 2 of them are fighting, and then they just keep swapping in and out of who the 2 is and who the 1 is. But early on, I don't know, it just feels a bit meh. Anyway, I love that Io's moonsault is called the Over the Moonsault. That's news to me. Have I just never noticed it being called that, or is that a relatively new name? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'm 1 from 3 on predictions, so yay, go me. Next, we have LA Knight arriving in a Slim Jim car, which I put not as bad as the Peace Out ones. Honestly, not as bad is a gross understatement, because it was product placement. It was like a Slim Jim, and let's say the word Slim Jim. But LA Knight was just arriving and looking cool and what have you, and he just happened to have Slim Jim all over the side of his car for some reason. But, this was so much different to the Pizza Hut stuff. Like, so much more tolerable if it was like that, So, yeah. The equivalent would have been to just have Wade, during the match, just cut briefly to Wade Barrett, Booker T, and Xavier Woods watching the first match. And they just had like a very obviously placed Pizza Hut box, and maybe the commentators can say, "Oh, look at these 3 enjoying their Pizza Hut backstage, watching the match," legends of the business or something, and then return to the match, and just something passive like that would have been much better. Anyway, next, Pat McAfee showed up, which obviously is his hometown, or it's his home team, or whatever his connection is to Indianapolis. It's I did put, is it diminishing returns? The initial pop wasn't that great. They got behind him in the end, but I feel like Pat McAfee returns, quote returns, like several times a year now, and it's like just have him back. Like, Pat McAfee's great. I love Pat McAfee, but I think doing the oh my god, Pat McAfee's here is getting a bit overplayed now, and just have him expected. People will be happy with that. The majority of people I see talking about wrestling commentary seem to be on board with Pat McAfee, so yeah, just do it. I can't remember what he was doing, just playing up to the home crowd. Oh, he was joining the commentary desk for the next match. Yeah, I remember, and he introduced John Cena, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the next match was Cena and LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. During this match, at certain points, Paul Heyman was at ringside on the phone, apparently to Roman Reigns, telling him about the match. What, Roman Reigns can't afford Peacock? Roman Reigns just can't be bothered watching the match on TV, but he can be bothered sitting on the phone to Paul Heyman and listening to him talk about it. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. The phone gimmick is fine, I guess. Like, it's fine, but during the match, I don't know, it makes no sense. Like, when Heyman's ringing Reigns to get feedback, to get, like, what should we do? That's one thing. But we know Paul Heyman is, like, social media and phone literate, and technology literate, so why can't Roman Reigns just shoot him a message, be like, oi, tell Jimmy to do this? Like, well, I don't know, because that's not as visual, obviously. But during the match, I just thought, can't you just watch it on Peacock? Like, I don't get it. Anyway, this was a fairly straightforward tag match. I'd say this wasn't as good a match as the opening tag match in terms of bell-to-bell action, but the fans were super into it. Like, LA Knight is insanely over. John Cena is just, like, you know, he's getting his flowers now, and I'm here for it. Like, I love that people love John Cena now. And the Bloodline, as much as it is very much cooled off, they're still, like, pretty much the top heels on SmackDown, so, like, you know, yeah, it makes sense the crowd are into this. LA Knight, I think, deliberately did, like, a bit of a nod to Pat McAfee on commentary by doing the vertical leap into the superplex on Jimmy Uso. Cena hit a 5-knuckle shuffle, and when he hit the ropes, he knocked Solo Sikoa off, who was trying to get back in after he'd just been sent out by Cena. And then LA Knight hit the blunt force trauma and got the 3 on Jimmy Uso. And I predicted them to win, so 2 out of 4. Yeah! Yeah, this match was fine. It was a lot more formulaic. It was, you know, Cena got beaten down for a bit, hot tag, you know, insert a bit of fluff here, and then the babyfaces win. Like, it was fine. You know, didn't need to be more than that. No one was looking forward to this match necessarily for the in-ring action, for this is going to be a 5-star match. Like, I don't think. That wasn't the point. So yeah, it's fine. Okay, so we've had 4 matches, so you know what that means? A fourth ad using wrestlers. And we've got a monster truck wrestling toy of some description. I missed the name of it. Sheamus was in the ad briefly, actually driving a monster truck and talking to the camera, and then it kind of panned out to Ridge Holland and Butch were watching that thing that Sheamus did on TV, I think, and they were playing with this toy. Like I'm sure all the wrestlers are playing with children's toys backstage at the shows. I mean, if you ask The Undertaker, they probably are. But, like, it was pretty corny and stupid the way they were playing with it and trying to get excited about it, and you could tell neither of them were really into it. Like they were both just like, ugh, why have we been dragged into this? Why couldn't we be, you know, in a match? WWE, could we wrestle? And I still hate that Pete Dunne is called Butch. I hate it. I think, is it this week he's got the Heritage Cup match in NXT, or was that last week and it's already happened and now he's doing something teaming with Tyler Bate or something? One of them was last week, one of them was this week. But the fact that Butch and Tyler Bate are starting to associate, I'm hoping we might see the transition back to Pete Dunne. That might be the catalyst for that. Fingers crossed, eh? Finally. Anyway. Main event time. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. Oh, I'm 2 from 4 on predictions. I predicted the babyfaces to win. I don't know if I mentioned that. Yeah, in a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship, Nakamura and Rollins. This was a good match. A predictable story, but it was told well of, like, Rollins back and, you know, oh, how's he going to get through this? And, you know, the valiant babyface. And I think that really telegraphed the babyface win, which is what I predicted. I put this as nowhere near the best last man standing match. This was fine, but it wasn't an all-time last man standing match. It felt a little bit like there was a couple of big spots and stuff and a couple of cool moments, but generally it was about as formulaic as a last man standing match gets. In my opinion, it was a good match, but I just don't think there was anything special about it. The finish seemed a bit tame to me compared to some. Like, I know people don't want to see, like, wrestlers trying to kill themselves to do a big spot to finish a last one standing match. But a Falcon Arrow through a table and the drop was maybe about 3 foot. Like, it didn't feel like the finish. I was very surprised when Shinsuke didn't get up. I was, like, really genuinely surprised. I was like, yeah, it's a cool spot. You know, probably an 8 or 9. And no, it was just the end. And I was like, oh, Okay. So, yeah. I think that didn't help. The fact that the finish was a wee bit underwhelming. But I predicted Rollins to win, so I went 3 from 5. I got over 50-50 after the dreadful start. And I think what I said about the last match, it being fine, it being good, but nothing special, nothing standout, I think that just applies to the whole show, to be honest. I think the show was fine, it was good, I enjoyed myself, like, I had a nice time watching it. But I'm glad I didn't particularly pay for it. Like, obviously, because we still have the network, and I use the network for lots of things. Like watch-alongs and stuff like that. And Mrs. Abeza watches back lots of old content from, like, I think she's up to like 2004 now. She started in like 1999. So we get our money's worth out of the network without the PLEs. I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't pay for this show specifically. Like that. I don't think it was worth that. I think it was a really good episode of Raw. It's a really good episode of Raw. Anyway, yeah, there was nothing offensively bad in the show, I don't think, except some of the ads. They were just atrocious. But you let me know what you thought of the show in the comments. Like, what do you agree with that I said? What do you disagree with? Do you think some of the matches were they were fine, but a bit of a letdown? I feel like the women's title match and the world title last man standing match were a bit of a letdown compared with what they could have been. A bit going through the motions for me. I don't know. That's what it felt like. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you'd like to see more wrestling related content from me. I do predictions, I do reviews, I do watch-alongs, I play wrestling video games, I do lists occasionally and other sorts of videos like that. I'm branching out into other wrestling content slowly but surely. So yeah, drop a sub, find out what else I do. But for now, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been Ebeza, you've been amazing, and I'll see you next time.